Hello world, this is Coding After Effects with the Back to Basics series. In this tutorial I will be going over the if statements, and I will break it down in great detail so that this is easy to understand. An if statement is a very powerful statement to learn for programming, and knowing how to use an if statement, you will open a lot of doors to doing some crazy stuff in After Effects expressions, or in any programming language in general. In this example, I'm using a checkbox to turn the light bulb on and off. And if you stay tuned to these tutorials, you will be able to do this or something similar. Inside of the light bulb layer, there's an if statement that will change the fill color. But before we do a breakdown of this layer's if statement, let's go over the first part of a if statement, the conditional. The conditional part of the if statement checks to see if the statement is true or false. If the first part is true, then the second part where these lines of code is located is going to be executed. In this first part of this if statement series, we will go over the conditional part where we are going to learn in depth on how to create a conditional statement. In the light bulb layer, there is an expression code with an if statement that is controlling the light of the light bulb. If the statement is true, then the light bulb will change the fill color to yellow, and if it's false, then it will turn back to gray. However, this is not what we are focusing on. We are focusing on just the conditional. Let's go to the expression text layer, and in this expression, these statements is either going to give me a true or false value. Now, each one of these are commented, so that's why we are getting undefined on the screen. These two forward slashes comment a statement, and comment statements won't execute that line of code. If you want to learn more about comments, I have a tutorial going over comments and expressions and how to use it. A lot of people might not know this, but text layers are good for testing out expressions. This first line, I'm going to uncomment this line by getting rid of the double forward slashes in front of true. This true statement is a Boolean and not a string data type. And if you want to execute an if statement, then you will have to make the conditional part of the if statement to be true. A Boolean is just a true or false statement. Again, I have another video talking about data types, so check that video out if you want to learn more about this or other data types. The next commented statement is a false statement. Now, as you can guess, if you get a false statement, then the execution code within the if statement will not get executed. The next line is just here to prove that this is a true statement and not a string, but a Boolean by using the type of statement. The next statement is a string with quotes around it, and it is not a Boolean, but a string. The type of 1 double equal 1 in the parentheses is going to give me a true statement, so this is going to return me a Boolean. The equal or double equal operator is what I like to call it, but proper is called the equality operator. It checks the two values of an if statement and give us either a true or false value by seeing if the two values are the same, and we will get more in depth about that later. Double equal just sounds better to me. The single equal operator is called the assign operator, which is super confusing because in math the equal sign is equal, and sometimes when you're talking to other programmers and you say equality operator, they might think that you're talking about the equal sign and not the double equal operator, and this is just stupid. But whatever, I regress. Next, we will be looking at what goes behind the express control box and see what values we get from it. A checkbox will only give you either a 0 or a 1, as you can see. Now that I've shown you that, I will now show you how to use it with the double equal operator. As you can see, we can get true or false by using the checkbox and the double equal sign. Next, we will be going through the different operators that give us a true or false Boolean. These operators are called the comparison operators and can be used to compare two values to give us a true or false Boolean. The first comparison operator we are going to go over is the double equal operator. We've seen this a few times already, but the double equal operator is going to look at the two values and see if they are equal. In this, 1 equals 1, so this is going to come out true. Sorry, I'm a dummy. How could I show you how to get a true statement with the double equal and not show you how to get a false statement? While common sense would tell you that, of course, changing the value would give you a false statement, but when reviewing this, it really bothered me that I didn't add that. Now that I got that out the way, I'm relieved. Woo! This next one is going to be a little bit weird to see. This is the triple equal operator, but the proper name is the strict equality operator. Again, the name is stupid, but whatever. The double equal operator checks not only if the value is equal, but also checks to see if the data types are the same, and we will see this soon. And this next double equal, you can see is checking if the 0 equals 0, and of course we're going to get true. The problem is that these two zeros, 0, is it proper to add S to the end of a word 0? Who knows? The problem is that these two zeros are two different data types. The first 0 being a data type of number, and the second 0 being a data type of string. This can be a problem in some situations. So to be stricter with our 0 comparison, we can use the triple equal operator. Now you can see that this is giving us false. As a rule, there are times that you are going to have to use the double equal operator. But my advice would be use the triple equal whenever you can for better coding. Here are some operators you may remember from grade school, which is the greater than and the less than operator. And as you can guess, these two operators check the two values and see if the first value is greater than or less than the second value. The first operator is the greater than operator, and it's checking to see if 1 is greater than 0. And in this case, 1 is greater than 0, so we will get true. The next one is the less than operator, and this, of course, will look at the first value and see if it's less than the second value. So for this statement, we are going to get false. The second set of this is the greater than equal and the less than equal operators. As you can see, if you add a greater less than sign in front of an equal sign, will create the greater less than equal operator. The only difference between the former and the latter is the first value has to be greater or less than the second value. While the greater less than equal, the first value, depending on the sign, has to be either greater, less than, or equal to the second value. And these two examples, you can see that since both values are equal in value, that you would get true for both. Beyond that, greater, less than, equal operator works just the same as the greater, less than operator. Most times you will have the option of either using the greater, less than operator or using the equal version of it. When choosing between the two, I always think readability. So I choose depending on which one I can use and understand what's going on without thinking too hard. And of course, this is going to vary from project to project, and also going to vary between different type of functions and code that I'm using. Next, we're going to tackle the not logical operators, which is made with the exclamation point. If you add an exclamation point before an equal sign, we'll get an inequality operator, which is going to check if the statement is not true. If we look at the next statement, I'm checking to make sure that 1 does not equal 0. And since 1 does not equal 0, it will return true. Simple enough. The next statement is checking if 1 does not equal 1. And in this case, 1 does equals 1. So this will be a false statement. Sorry again, I forgot about the strict inequality operator. Just like the triple equal, this operator also looks at the data type. If you look at this example, this 1 not equal 1 is going to give me true because its value is equal, but the data type is not. And I'll be honest, I don't use the not logical operator that much, and that's because it can be harder to read in a lot of cases. And as far as my knowledge goes, you can totally avoid using the not logical operator if you wanted to. Lastly, the last section of the conditional operator, we have the logical and logical or operator, which both allows you to add extra conditions. The next one is the and logical, which in order to get a true statement, each condition has to be true. In this example, the first condition is true, but the second condition is false. So we're going to get a false statement. The next conditional is the or logic operator, which one of the condition has to be true in order for the statement to be true. To type the or logical, you have to hold shift and click the backslash twice. The backslash is located above the enter button on the PC. I'm not sure on where it's located on the Mac, but to the best of my knowledge, it should be in the same location. The first condition is true and the second is false. And since we only need one to be true, this statement is going to be true. That's all I have for this part of learning the if statement. I know that this was a lot to take in, and I promise that what you learn in this tutorial will become a lot more clear by the next video. For the next part, we will go over an actual if statement. As always, I have more videos on expression if you want to check that out. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Until the next time, peace out, world.